Okay, interesting. There's a lot of you guys. Happy people. Okay, so initially, when I came in, I was planning on doing an ear training masterclass. How many people have seen me do an ear training masterclass? Oh, quite a few of you. That means I'm going to do something different. It's jazz, so you have to be able to come in and adjust to your audience, right? So how many people are mallet players? Whoa! Check it out. Interesting. How many people are improvisers? Nice, nice, nice. Okay, I know what I want to talk about. Let's see. It's funny, you know, I don't really like to play tunes in a setting like this. I like to just be able to start and see where the music takes me. So, I want to talk to you today about the major scale. You know, like the major scale, it seems like it's so simple, and I'm going to need a volunteer, maybe a few people. Who want to come up on stage? Oh man, I'm going to have to pick right here. Maybe in the white. Over here? Yes. Yeah. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, one more person. From the back of the room with the gray shirt on. Yes. Okay, so basically what I just did was I for the most part, after I started to hear a couple things and threw a couple of extras in there, but for the most part, I only used the major scale when I was improvising. Did you hear it? Kind of, sort of? I'm going to break it down for you. So, is John here from NYU? My man doing? John, are you here? No? You're not here? Okay, no problem. Okay, so I want to have one of you guys come up. You can play in whatever key you want, and I want you to just start off with a major scale and just create something. Let's see. Hey, it's great. So far, no one's repeated a key. Different keys every time. No pressure. Okay, great. So what happens is, a lot of times when we're taught scales, we're given these 7 notes, right? And you see a chord change, and someone tells you, oh, you can use this scale, you can play any of these notes, they're all going to work. Well, they all do work, but they all work differently, right? There's almost a hierarchy to the order in which notes function. So for me, with every chord, with every sound, there's actually a center to every sound. If you've seen the ear training masterclass, you know how I identified the middle of the sound. We're going to talk about it from an improvisation perspective today. So with a major scale, let me get someone back up, whoever. Okay. With a major scale, let's stay in the key of C. There's actually a center. A lot of times it's not necessarily the root of the scale. In this particular case, we'll use C as the center pitch of the scale. But there's a shape inside of every sound. Generally, I like to think of it, the way you make a melody is through the idea of tension and release. So within every sound, there's a few notes that are really sort of inactive. They don't have a lot of pull. They sort of settle. They open up really nicely. And then all the other notes will create tension against those 3 that are open. So initially, we'll start with a C triad. Play a C triad. Okay, play it a little louder. Okay. By the way, these are my new mallets. It just came out today. Vic Firth, baby. Pick them up if you like them. Pick them up if you don't like them. Just pick them up. Okay, so if we think of these 3 notes as what I'll call these a melodic tonic. All right? And the way we're going to make melodies is we're going to move between a melodic tonic and a melodic dominant. So these 3 notes that he just laid out are going to be resolution tones. So any other note that he picks from the major scale, if he puts it in the middle of one of these 3 notes in the middle of a line, you're going to notice a melody. So he's only going to use 4 notes initially, okay? And this is what I call a quadrant. It's 4 notes. So pick one of the other notes. Tell me which one first. Okay, so he's going to pick the 4. Hold on. He's going to play C, E, and G as his open resolution tones. And the 4th is a note that he's going to hit to create melodic tension, and then you have to resolve it to one of your melodic tonic tones. I'm gonna ask you not to jump around too much in large leaps because we want to be more lyrical, like a singer. A lot of singers wouldn't go, wah! Right? So think lyrically. If you're writing you're writing a beautiful melody right now. Just 1, 3, 5, and you can add the 4 for tension. There you go. There you go. All right, excellent. So what happens is, can you hear me without this? I need to use this mic, don't I? Okay, I need to use the mic. So what happens is, this is a form of ear training. What happens is you get used to the open notes, and then you learn the personality of all the other notes in between. So for example, this 4, he's playing it exactly the same way he's playing 1, 3, and 5, right? So it's not really creating a lot of tension. Whereas if I take this same note, me, 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 yeah, I put a little more weight behind that note. We actually talked about the feeling of these notes, which we will do in another class, right? If I play just a triad here, and I play this note, it feels like this. Right? You feel that? Everybody do this with me when I play the note. Right? Here we go. Right? Now watch this. This time I want you to play the note. You ready? Can you feel the difference in your body? Like when you do this, your body is like, why are you doing it? Your body is telling you that it doesn't make any sense to move that way. But when you go like this and you put a point on it and you open up, your body doesn't say that it's wrong. It actually feels connected to the sound. So there's a physical element in sound that is inherent, right? So as part of ear training, we're going to think as dancers, right? We're not just thinking we don't think in intervals and things like that. We're thinking about feeling. So, let me show you one. So these 3 have a nice open tone. This one is pointed. That's the root. The 5th is a little strong. It's more majestic. Sounds like this. Oops, let me. Sounds like this. You feel the difference? Do it with me. I want you to point. I'm going to play the 3rd, and I want you to point. No smiling. Point really seriously. You ready? Feels terrible to your body. There's no connection, right? Now this time, I'm going to play the 3rd. The 3rd is a lighter note. It's brighter. I tend to open my eyes a little wider when I hear the 3rd, and it makes my body open up. It's a very giving tone. It's very different than the root. This time I want to smile. I want the eyes bright, arms going up. You ready? You feel that? Totally different, right? So now we'll talk about the 4. All right, so I'm going to play the triad, and I'm going to play the 4, and let's see what the 4 feels like. Because to my body, needs one. Don't drop them. Expensive. Maybe some feeling now. try not to jump around so much. Singers can't sing in octaves like that. There you go. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Okay, good, good. So this is, I'll play this for a second. This is an introduction of the fourth. Now, every other note is going to have a totally different feeling. So remember, we start with a scale, and we see these 7 notes, and someone tells you they all work. They're all totally different. So I spend time getting to know each of these notes and how I want to use them, the types of melodies that they create. So the four creates a melody that feels like this. So we've talked about our open tones. You notice the difference between the root third and the fifth. None of them have this super amount of tension. They're more, all those other 3 notes are much more open and relaxed. We're talking about the notes that create tension now. So let's go into the 2. So this is what I call a quadrat. It's 4 notes. It's the melodic tonic triad plus 1 other note. It's a quadrat. So this is Q2. First you're going to start with a triad, and then you're going to integrate that 2 in. See what it feels like to you. I want to see what happens if you just... Now let's stay in the key of C. So you see it has a very, very different feeling, right? Let me show you. All right, remember the 4 had a bend to it? Right? This one, on the other hand, has a feeling that turns over. It spreads. Watch. It goes. It's not like this. So if I'm going to use this note, I'm going to use it like this. Watch, I'll use 4, then I'll use 2. Here's 4. Choice. You can go with 6 or you can go with 7. He's going with 6. I would have went with 7, but it's okay. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so what's your name? Carlos. What Carlos is doing right now is he's using this shape as if it's a scale. You understand? He has 4 notes, and he's just running by them. Right? You're just running up and down. But it's a very specific personality. I want you to get to know number 6. Number 6 is very nice. So we have one more note in the diatonic scale. Who's our next volunteer? Yes. Okay, which note are you going with? Good choice. Okay, so first, what I want you to do for the audience, I want you to sustain a triad on this gorgeous Yamaha vibraphone. Wait. Down at the bottom of the instrument, sustain a triad, and then I want you to play the major 7 and let it ring so we can see what it feels like. First play the triad and let it sustain, and then up an octave, play the 7. Wait. Yes. Whoa, it's totally different than the 4 and the 6, right? The 6 had a feeling like this. It's like la, so la, so fa, mi, re. The 7th, it's not sad, it's sweet, but it's heavier, right? Yeah, it's a little sad, right? So when you play it, I want to hear, So 1, 3, 5, and you can use the 7 when you're ready. Wait, what's that top note? Yes, you feel it? Feel how bright it was? Right? It's not about listening to a note. It's about recognizing the feels of each note. Right? Now that's one of the things that I would recommend, especially if you're just getting started with it. Instead of thinking about licks and runs, you don't really need to play licks, right? Ultimately, what we hope to do is play melodies, right? Even when we play fast, what is a line but a fast melody, right? In theory, we shouldn't switch our mindset, oh, I'm playing melodically right now, and now I'm going to play some lines. No, you should always be playing melodies, right? This movement between tension and relief should always be present in what it is that we do. So as you continue to advance from there, you end up maybe combining some of these notes. So for example, one thing I could do, this is called a hexatonic, where you have a 6-note scale. So I could take a C triad, which is my melodic tonic, right? And I could create a melodic dominant that has 3 notes. So it could be D, F, and A, right? Let me use 3 mouths for it. All right, so I can play the C triad, and I can play the D minor triad. Same concept when I'm improvising. I can just use note by note and go from C to D minor like this. You hear it? See, I play 4 differently than the other notes. They're not all the same, right? Okay, make sense? Yes? I'll take a quick second to see if there are any questions before I go on to the next little step with this. This is a form of ear training. You hear it? Yes? Questions?
Would you apply all the same characteristics to the note in the A instead of C? If you were playing an A minor, would you still pick all the characteristics?
Okay, he's asking if I were playing on top of different chords, like if I were playing in A minor, but I was thinking in C, would I still think of those notes as having the same character, right? So the answer is tricky. Let's see. The answer is in that every chord has a center, right? Just like I showed you how there's a melodic center to the major scale, it is this major triad, and then everything else sort of creates tension against it. Chords function the same way. Is there someone who can play piano? All you have to do is be able to find a triad for me. Okay, great. So, if he played A minor 7, I would think of all these notes the same in the key of C, and I'll show you why. The reason why is because A minor 7 is basically, in the left hand, it's A, C, G. So we have a root, a third, and a seventh. Can you play that for me in your left hand? And in the right hand, it's basically a C triad, if you look at the other notes, right? So because the upper structure is C, I'm going to play in the key of C when I see A minor, right? Play that all together. So that's why those notes still feel like this. Now, if he changes to a different chord, for example, if he goes to an E7 sharp 9 sharp 5, which would be in the left hand a root, a third, a dominant 7, you got it, E, G sharp, D, and then you're going to put a C triad on top. Right. Now see, those notes are going to feel similar because the upper structure is C. Watch this. Play that chord really strong. The center of this sound to me is not this play. That doesn't sound like the middle. The middle sounds here. Watch. You hear that? I'm playing C and he's playing E7 chord. But C feels like the middle to me. And it's because its upper structure is a C triad. So if I'm playing in the key of the upper structure, the tensions will generally feel the same. Right? But the 4 against the dominant doesn't feel like a 4 against the upper structure. Watch this. So he's gonna play E7, and I'm gonna play a 4 against it, which is an A. Watch this. Play the same chord. 4 felt like this before. Watch how this 4 feels. Play. That feels more like this because it's not really the 4. You understand? You play in the key of the upper structure. Woo! I'll come back to that though. That's a great question. I'll come back to that in the next step. Any other questions? Did you follow that? Yeah. Oh, good. Any other questions? Okay. No, I wouldn't play a C major scale at all. Yeah, I would. I don't know if I'd play a scale. Actually, I don't really play scales very often, so I think in shapes. But if I were to put together a 7-note scale, it wouldn't be a major scale. It would be I don't forget my scale theory. It's like a Mixolydian flat 5 scale or something. See, to me, I wouldn't tell you to avoid it. I would tell you to listen to the personality of it, and if you want to use that personality, go ahead and use it. If you don't like it, then you might want to leave it alone. But it's your choice, ultimately, right? So it's all to learn, to me, as a process of discovery. You have to go through every step yourself, and I can help guide you through that process. But 9 times out of 10, people come to the same conclusions, right? Because this is a series of vibrations that existed long before any of our ideas came along, right? Okay, so let's talk about context now. So if we think about a tune, like I showed you a minute ago, some notes have more tension than others, right? So what I do is I try to find the melodic center of a sound, whatever tune it is that I'm playing. And then I know what key to play in, right? And then there's sort of a hierarchy to which notes have more or less tension. So what I do generally to start off with my students is we'll identify the core triad, right? And then we'll look for the most inside note. I hate that term, but you know what I mean. The note that has the least tension of the melodic dominant. So for example, if we were playing a tune like Blue and Green. So, you know Blue and Green? Okay, so if he plays the first chord, it's B flat, major 13, sharp 11, 9. Okay, so what he's gonna have in his left hand, he's gonna have B flat major. So he's gonna have a B flat, a D, and an A. You notice with all the chords, I'm playing a root, a third, and a 7th. You don't need a 5th. Okay, so play root, 3rd, 7th. In the left hand. We'll play a B flat down low first. Play a B flat in your left hand, an octave lower. And then a D. All right, play that all together, just the left hand. Good, now in his right hand, he's gonna play a C triad with an E on top. With an E on top. All right, play it all together. How many people know Blue and Green? You've heard this song before? You see the color of that first chord is really made of a C triad, right? It's like the 3rd of a C triad. So when I play on that initially, or when I have my students go through this process, you want to pick the first quadrant. And for that particular chord, the first quadrant is Q2. So I'm going to play 1, 3, 5, and I'm going to add a 2. Play the first chord. There's no scale yet. It's melody. If I want to add another note to that, I would add the A, which is the melodic 6th, right? Because that's the second most inside to me. So now I have a pentatonic because I have 5 notes, right? I have 2 quadrats. I have Q2, 1, 2, 3, 5, and I have Q6, 1, 3, 5, 6. If you put those together, you have 5 notes. Play that chord again. You hear it? And I'm moving from a triad to a dyad, right? I'm moving from a C triad to these other 2 notes, the D and the A. One more time. See? I move in the relaxed state to tension and back. So as he goes on to the next chord will be a A7, sharp 9, sharp 5. So that's like A7 in the left hand, root 3rd, dominant 7. Right? And in the right hand, an F triad. Right? So far, I've looked at a chart of Blue and Green. The first chords are B flat major to A7, but I played in the key of C, then I played in the key of F. Right? And that's really where your ear hears it. So we look at these chord changes and you play in the key of B flat. I'm going to show you what it sounds like if I play in the key of B flat for the first chord. Watch this. That's a B flat. I played right up the scale. If I take that same scale, but I start on C, it sounds like this. Right? See, the melodic center is not necessarily what you see in the chord symbol. Next chord, A7, sharp 9, sharp 5. So I go to the key of F. And the quadrat here is with a flat 6. So it's 1, 3, 5, flat 6. Right? Next would be D minor, which would have an F triad over D minor. Doing a good job over here. And I would use Q2. Right? So I'm improvising just with 4 notes. Now watch this. Here are the first 3 chords. Just 4 notes each. Q2 in the key of C, Q flat 6 in the key of F, and then Q2 in the key of F. All right, first chord. You hear it? Right? Because it's not a scale. I don't think in scales at all. I could use all 7 notes, but I wouldn't play every note exactly the same way. Certain notes would have weight, certain notes would have distance, some notes would hurt, some notes would have yearning, like that. Right? Totally different feeling. So as I go through the composition, that's what I'm thinking as an improviser. I'm thinking several quadrats always. Sometimes I put them together into pentatonics. Sometimes I put 3 of them together into hexatonics. Sometimes I put 4 of them together into a 7-note scale. But I'm never just thinking 7 notes and all those notes work and you can play whatever. Right? You understand the difference? So I have to learn to hear them first. Make sense? Now for those, let's see, we got a couple minutes here. The next step with this is really interesting because you can actually use this same material for comping. How many 4 mallet players who comp here? Yeah. So if I take this same material and I just spread it out with 4 mallets as if I'm comping. So if he plays the bass note, the B flat to the A to the D, I'm going to play Q2 in the key of C. Watch. I can play this. Hear it? It's 4 notes. Next chord. Next chord. If I keep going. Sounds like I'm doing something fancy, right? I'm not. I'm playing a triad plus 1 other note, right? So as an improviser, I hear that. If he played that on the piano, I would hear what he was playing and understand how to line it up 1 step at a time. Okay. That's a lot of information. A lot of information. Start with the major scale, though. Do not underestimate the major scale. Okay? I could play a major scale for 5 hours and be really creative with it and come up with a whole lot of different things, pivoting from different keys. It's an unbelievable collection of feelings. Don't underestimate it. All right? You say major scale, people are like, oh, I know a major scale. Do you? Okay, so before we run out of time, I definitely want to leave a minute for you guys to ask some questions about what we're talking about here or other things. Wait, stand up straight. I'm kidding. Okay, he's asking, what about the chord dictates which quadrat I use? Well, it's your ear primarily. It depends on what type of feeling you want to generate. Like, I know the feeling of all 9 quadrats. There's 9 of them. And I know how each of them feels, so I can generate that emotion. It's up to me. But in terms of choosing the one that's the most inside, it's generally if you don't have a third. All right, this gets confusing. Watch. Okay, so the first chord is B flat 13 sharp 11 9. That's a B flat major in the left hand with a C triad on top. For me to get a quadrat, I'm going to look at my right hand, the C triad, and then I'm going to look at the chord symbol, and I'm going to ask myself, do I have a third of the chord symbol in my right hand? Do I? No. So that's my first choice. The order of hierarchy is always the 3rd first, then the 7th, and then it gets fuzzy after that. Then it kind of depends on the context of how the chord is being used. So for example, if he were to, the second chord, he played A7 sharp 9 sharp 5 and F triad over A7, play it. So I have an F triad here, and I'm looking at the chord symbol which says A7. When I look at my F triad, do I have the third of the chord here? No. What's the third of the chord? C sharp. That's how I came up with Q flat 6. You understand? In every tune, you can approach this way. This is just the beginning of it. Obviously, you're going to build, but this is a very good way to force yourself into being a melodic player. You can't play licks when you play this way. You have to listen, you have to hear the notes, and it's inevitable that you'll play melodies. It's impossible not to play melodically if you use these shapes. No, you can use minor triads as upper structures also. So if I hear it as a minor triad, for example, if he played A half diminished, it would be like root third, seventh in the left hand, A, C, and G in the left hand, and a C minor triad on top. See? So when I see A half diminished, I never play in the key of A. When I see A half diminished 7. If I see A half diminished 11-9, I play in the key of G. I translate every chord symbol. It's what I call a melodic progression. I don't play the harmonic progression that you see on a piece of music. I don't think that way at all. I look for the melody, right? So play that again. So I'm playing a C minor triad. Even though he's playing A, right? Make sense? Okay. It's right here. In a big band, you must know how you apply it in a big band setting. Well, it takes a lot of work, but in terms of improvising, it's the exact same concept. If you're taking a solo, you need to understand the melodic center of every sound. And when you can understand the melodic center, it'll help you be able to play more melodically. In terms of writing for a big band, let's take, for example, if I were in a situation and I were writing something for saxophones, the sax section, right, a soli. I need to have these 5 horns. Well, let's do 4 horns because I only have 4 mouths, right? And I need to have them moving around. I could apply some of these exact same principles to have them moving around, and all the voice leading would work out just fine. I might get rid of a couple of doubles, but you won't have parallel fifths and things like that. It's innate in the species of what we're talking about. So, for example, if he had E7, sharp 9, sharp 5, so this is a C triad over E7. And if you did my ear training class, I know you can hear these chords. All right, so if I had a saxophone section and I wanted to move these 4 guys around, 2 guys and 2 girls, right? What I would do, I could think of it in a bunch of different ways, but let's say, for example, I thought of it as a pentatonic. Okay, my man over here who asked the question. All right, so if I think of it as a pentatonic, I have a C triad in my right hand, I have E7 in my left hand, right? What's the first note going to my right hand? The third of E7, what note is that? G sharp. So now I have C, E, G, A flat. What's the second note going to? The 7th, which is what note? D. So now my pentatonic is C, D, E, G, A flat, right? Right, I'm using there's hundreds of pentatonics too. People think there's 2. There's like hundreds of them. So if I wanted to move it around, I'm still thinking that there's a melodic tonic, which is the C triad, right? Right? And then there's these other 2 notes that we added, which are part of my melodic dominant. So watch, I'll move up this scale and harmonize it. Now when I play a C, a E, or a G, I'm going to harmonize it with one of the notes from that triad. If I play a D, I'm going to harmonize it with one of the notes from the melodic dominant. You understand? Yes? So watch this. That's 2 voices. If I wanted 3. See how I'm moving those voices around? So it applies to, but it's not just big band. If you're writing for strings, if you're writing for a solo keyboard, this is how functional harmony works. So there's no singular path to it. All right? Okay, I think we're just about out of time. I hope that was inspiring. I hope you learned something about the major scale. You'll take it seriously. You'll respect it. Buy my new mallet. And I'll see you guys tonight. Thank you so much.